Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on that.
Good evening and welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. It's Monday night, which means I'm joined by Holly. How are you?
I'm good, Steve. How are you?
Sick as a chip after that result, I've got to be honest. Yeah, they did it again, except they got rid of the final and then let us down on penalties. But it's been a great Euros, better than I thought it was going to be perfectly honest. If you told us England were going to get to the final, I would have snapped anyone's hand off for that. So, plenty to talk about tonight as always. We're going to talk about England, going to talk about the new Newcastle strip. Have you got it on tonight?
Yeah.
I thought it was, yeah. I've just cottoned on that you've got the top, so we'll talk about that, and we'll obviously talk about the protest as well at Protest NUFC. Give them a follow on Twitter. Bus trip to London, all booked in for this Friday for the trip to Parliament Square. So we will talk to Holly a little bit about updates on that as the show goes on. But let's discuss the England game, and I guess the photograph that probably encapsulates the emotions of last night is that one, and poor Saka, 19-year-old lad, the expectation on his shoulders with a penalty. It's an unfair way, really, to decide a cup final, to decide any game of football, but a European Cup final. It was tragic to see, but overall, give us your impression of the game last night, Holly.
A lot of people were really nervous leading up to the game, whereas it didn't get to me too much because I just thought, we've came this far, which is a lot better than I thought we ever would have done. And I think that I had a lot of trust in Southgate and the players and in their ability. I knew that Italy was a very hard opposition, the best in the competition for me, even before, we got to the latter stages. You could see the talent that Italy had. And of course, they went unbeaten for so long. And I think their manager's confidence is a massive plus. And I think that rubs off onto the other players within the squad because you could just see they were up for that game from the offset. And they felt in their mind, I think, that they knew they were going to win that game. And I think we made it a lot harder for them than I thought we would have. I was expecting them to get a few more goals. We kept it 1-1. It went at extra time. We were praying for a goal. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. And I think when it went to pens, we all knew that Italy had the advantage, unfortunately. There's questions about the penalties. Maybe you should have let more experienced players take the penalties. And Southgate took a lot of criticism for that. But I will actually stick up for Southgate because I don't think it's just his responsibility. Yes, he openly took the criticism for that. He said, I chose the penalty takers, but in my opinion, the senior players should have actually stepped up and said, listen, we're happy to do it, because I think that they maybe didn't be as vocal as they could have been. Of course, then we've seen the likes of young Saka, Rashford, Sancho, they missed their penalties. Rashford's penalty for me was the worst one. Obviously, he did hit it off the post, which is... I think he thought too much about it. You could see he was trying to put the keeper off at first, and then unfortunately he didn't get it on target. If he did, it would have been a brilliant penalty, but I just think he thought too much about it before he took that pen. And then the other lads, Sancho and Saka, they're both young men. They're both fairly new to the England squad, and I think they've been outstanding throughout the tournament. And we need to not get on their back too much because they did try their best. And for Saka, the 19-year-old, to actually step up and say, yes, I'll take that penalty, that's massive bravery that I think he should be awarded for. And regardless of the result, and I put this out before the game, I think we all should be proud of this England squad for what they've done. And I don't think we can get on their back too much because they've been brilliant from start to finish and they showed a lot of integrity. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I found it strange that the penalty takers had been decided, I guess, during the training sessions, etc. It was a weird answer from Southgate about the penalties. Everything's been planned, everything's been meticulously planned and carried out to the T. And we can't complain about it because it got us to the final. We only conceded The one goal in the build-up to the final, and then essentially, the set pieces that we've conceded. So it's been almost a perfect Euro 2020 for England. I mean, the only thing we didn't get was the trophy. We didn't get beat in the game. We didn't get beat in extra time. We got beat on penalties. We got beat on the technicality of penalties, and they were more technically able, to take penalties than we were. But I saw Grealish today. I mean, Roy Keane had a pop at Grealish on TV saying that, someone like Grealish should be stepping up and taking the responsibility. He said he wanted to take a penalty. So has Grealish not been good at penalties during the practice, the training sessions? It's just strange. It really is strange that, those people were selected. Jordan Henderson comes on as a sub, taken off as a sub. Again, hasn't got a 100% penalty record, but I would have put money on him getting one, scoring a penalty. It's one of those cruel things. I remember it was Euro 96 when the golden goal was in. And I did always feel that was like a better way of deciding things, that at least it's a goal, the responsibility, might come down to goalkeeper error or something like that. But ultimately, it's not one person who has to carry the can for the next 4 years until the next tournament, for not winning that particular game. And it's that kind of thing haunts you for the rest of your life. I mean, you might get a pizza deal out of it, like Gareth Southgate did and Chris Waddle, etc. But joking aside, it's something which can scar you for life as far as a player's concerned, because that penalty miss, unfortunately, until England wins something, is going to be shown time and time again in the build up to any international tournament. So we are going to see that again and again. I mean, looking at the positives, we got off to a great start. I'd said to Steve Hasty before the game, I was sitting watching it with him in the Irish Centre with lots of people who watch NUFC Matters who came along to the Irish Centre yesterday. And I said to him, I says, although I've gone for like a 1-0 in extra time, I do fancy, once I saw the team, the way we'd set up, once I saw Italy's team, the way they'd set up, I fancied England to get an early goal. And Steve turned to us and went, wow, you were right. And it was, a great way to start. I don't think we really built on that start. And in the second half, we were like rabbits in the headlights. Italy got their act together in the dressing room. Mancini did what he's done all tournament and had his players focused, changed things a little bit. And I think he used his substitutions more wisely. Gareth Southgate seemed reticent and reluctant to make any changes. And ultimately, the Italian subs changed the game for them. And before the goal, there was just flurry after attack. And as a seasoned football fan, you can see that, sooner rather than later, one of these chances is going to go in. I think we'd used up a bit of luck throughout the tournament anyway, and I think, our luck was always going to end at some point. But it was a scrappy goal to concede. Disappointing because, England had done so well to hold on to the lead to that point, but 1-1 was probably an accurate scoreline over that 90-minute period. Going into extra time, of course, England had the advantage in substitutions. They still had substitutes left to put on and to play. And again, Southgate just seemed reluctant to make those changes. And ultimately, the changes were made, I think, too late to affect the game. I think they were the right ones. I do like Grealish. I think Grealish is a good impact player and he can come on and change games. But, there wasn't enough time to get into the game for him last night. I think, I just think, once we got into extra time, there was almost, again, that rabbit in the headlights feeling that we didn't want to concede. And because we didn't want to concede, then we didn't want to push on. We didn't want to leave those gaps behind. And we didn't want to fall to a sucker punch like we had done in the semi-final in the last World Cup. And I just think, maybe we just got that. I think in sports psychology, it's called choking. And we almost choked a little bit, that almost felt as if, we're here and we can't get past this particular point. And we're going to go to penalties. And that's what we did. And the penalties, I pretty much read them as the people stepped up. I called the misses. You could see, I'm not a body language expert, or anything like that, but you can tell the way that someone steps up, the way they look, the way that you can see them change their mind, and you just have that feeling that if the keeper guesses the right way, then they're either going to blaze it over the bar, they're going to hit the post, or you have that feeling, don't you? It's weird when you're watching penalties, but I was disappointed. I've got to be honest, and I thought that the players that stepped up did look inexperienced, but then when Southgate came out at the end and said, these were already predetermined penalty takers, and this is what we had decided, then, if Grealish had stuck his hand up and said he'll take one, then why wasn't he allowed to take one? I would imagine he was probably in, if it had gone beyond the first 5, then I would imagine he would have been, up for a penalty at some point. But the first 5 were very, very, were very strange. Rashford never fills me with confidence as a centre forward. He doesn't fill me with confidence as a penalty taker. I've seen him miss a couple, I think, for Manchester United over the last couple of years. So, yeah, it was. Did I feel gutted and disappointed at the end of the night? Not really. I've got to be honest. I just felt England had done really well. I kept off Twitter last night because I knew it would be poisonous, and I knew that all of that praise that the England squad had over the last couple of weeks for doing what they've done would just all come crashing down by people who had been out all day drinking and just seem to want to take to social media and have a pop straight away, and that's exactly what happened. And I'm disgusted in what I've seen, and I'm we'll move on to this. I'm sure you are, that 3 of the lads who took penalties last night once again have all been the subject of racial abuse on Twitter and Instagram and other social media platforms. These 3 guys have done their best for England. They're part of a wonderful team, wonderful setup, and just because of the colour of their skin, people feel that it's all right to attack them and abuse them, and it's just not on. And once again, our great form on the pitch is let down by a minority of supporters hiding behind their keyboards, Holly.
It is. It's something that constantly breaks my heart when you see a player subject to abuse simply for the colour of their skin. It's really awful to see that, because it's something that I've never understood. These players, they've tried their best, the same as anyone else in the squad. They're all English players and they've done the best for their country. Why on earth you'd choose to hate on them now? I don't understand that. I never will. And it's such hypocrisy from a minority of people, because one minute they'll be singing their praises if they score a goal or have a good game, and the next they'll be constantly targeting them with all this racist abuse because they've missed a penalty or made a mistake or whatever else. But it's just, there's no excuse for it. And like I said, Steve, a lot of people were disappointed, and I can totally understand that. We thought we were going to win it. Of course, everyone that gets to the final thinks they're going to win it. We had a chance to. We did our best. But from my perspective, throughout this whole tournament, all the players have put in 100% effort. And I'm still very proud of this squad. Even though the result didn't go our way, I didn't make us too downhearted. Of course, I was disappointed. I was stressed a bit during the penalty shootout. But when that result came to a close, and you could see how upset they were, it's not like they just brushed it off and thought, you know what, we don't care. You could see they were massively upset, and to do that is not going to help these players. It's not going to improve them. It's not going to spur them on to do better. You want to be filling these players with confidence, and especially the likes of young Saka. This can put them off going into the new season, and you want him to do well as an up-and-coming English youngster. It's really, really awful. And I just hope it doesn't get to them. And I encourage everyone, to send the likes of Saka and Rashford and Sancho a positive message on Twitter. Like I did the same, and I just said, don't let it get to you too much that you missed that penalty, because we're all proud of you at home. You did your country proud, and chin up, move on, and hopefully we can get in a better position in the World Cup next year. That's it from my perspective. But it is awful to see how people change from loving these players to hate them just over the colour of their skin, isn't it, Steve?
Well, it is, yeah, and once again, I was attacked on social media. I'm somebody who has supported show racism, the red card, for many years. whether it's just by retweeting or going along and seeing some of the events that they've done. And once again, some people on the very far left of politics who, again, have faceless accounts, some don't, decide to use it as a stick to beat me with as well about the Tommy Robinson interview I did, which, it doesn't affect me. I've chose to ignore these people, but, this is what happens, unfortunately. It's a cesspit, Twitter, at times. I'm on there. I've got to be on there to promote. I've got to be honest, if I didn't promote and didn't, have to sell events or sell books, I wouldn't have social media, Holly. And that people think that's me, just saying that, but I genuinely just wouldn't have it, because it is just a load of complete strangers, with the exception of a few friends that you have on there whose opinion I don't really care about, and these people think that they're getting to you and having a pop at you. And I see this all the time with celebrities, you see it with not just footballers, but you see it with actors, you see it with presenters. Some people just spend their day, sitting, trolling people. And I just don't get it. I really don't. But yeah, social media for me, it's a necessity rather than a necessity for work and for promotion rather than anything else, and it's awful. It's awful, and there needs to be strict rules and regulations come in, Holly.
There definitely is. I think Twitter needs to do a lot more, because these people can't get away with it. Like we've said, sometimes we'll get abuse and we just kind of brush it off. But when there's like celebrities and they'll be getting this in hundreds of thousands, or even, people that might just get one comment, everyone's affected in different ways, and these comments can have a big impact if it's not dealt with correctly. So I think Twitter and other social media platforms need to step up massively. Yeah,
100%. Well, look, there is rumours that there's going to be a 10%, profit taken off the social media companies if they don't start cracking down on it. It hasn't been confirmed yet, although Boris's statement on it was pretty weak today, and you'd like to think that the government would take things like this seriously. The other disappointment thing was obviously video footage, and again, I had me say on this morning, but things can be taken out of context. Videos that can go up on YouTube, Facebook, etc. You always have to be careful saying anything about them or commenting on them, because you don't know which context in it was taken. But there is no doubt that what I saw on those videos last night and this morning was Italian fans, getting kicked in the head, kicked in the stomach, legs stamped on by England fans. Sometimes in the case 3-1. Again, that's just, it's unacceptable. It's the ugly side of football, which we shouldn't see, and it only counts against the wonderful tournament we've had.
It does. I don't know what these people get out of it. I don't know if they think this is going to have any type of impact other than putting shame on England fans. That's all it's doing. They're making themselves look bad. There's no need, yes, have a bit of banter, have a bit of crack about the teams, but there's no need to be physically violent or verbal violence, anything like that. It's just too far. And you've seen the state of London after last night's game, which is just appalling. People putting windows out and things. And, this is people's shops, this is businesses, houses. Why are you targeting their properties for no reason? Just normal day-to-day people. It's not on at all, and I think they really need to, the police should have stepped up, in my opinion, massively, because I don't think you didn't see police there, really. There was nowhere near enough police there as you'd expect. So that issue needs to be dealt with better. But I'm very grateful that as a Newcastle fan we don't have these issues too often, whereas England fans seem to get these problems a lot. So I think it's just something that, the FA need to kind of intervene in. And we have seen fines and stuff given to England. And yes, some people might think it's harsh for certain reasons, but I think something needs to be done, because England fans can't get away with keep doing this. And sadly, it's this small minority of England fans that put a bad reputation on all of them, because there'll be a lot of people there that just went to the match, have a good time and went home. But a few people's ruined it, same as always.
And I've got to be honest as well, people trying to force their way into the ground. There were some England fans managed to get in, breach the security. That isn't the England fans' fault in one sense. Look, they're doing something which you shouldn't be doing. They're trying to get in, right? Mm-hmm. They're trying to get into the biggest game in England's history since 1966. The security are basically not what they should be at Wembley by the looks of it. And this is the case at most football grounds, Holly. I'm sure you've been to as well. They seem, and it's that old phrase, if you pay cheap wages, you're not going to get the best of staff. You know what I mean? Put it that way. If you're paying $6.50, $7.50 an hour, whatever the minimum rate is these days, then unfortunately you aren't going to get somebody who is, particularly going to be bothered if someone tries to barge past them. We've seen a lot of stewards. They're physically not built for the job. They literally are just somebody who puts a yellow high vis on, and if there's trouble, they're not going to get involved. That's not their job. That's not their role, and they don't want to get into trouble. They don't want to be involved in bother, and that's what we saw. People just easily getting barged out the way, pushed out the way. We're seeing somebody saying, "Do your job," and for me, the money that's ploughed into football, then if it's something as tight as security, especially in this day and age where terrorism's a threat, etc., I think you need to be paying for the best security, at least on the exits and entrances, and making sure that these doors can't be breached. You know what I mean? Have big guys on, or big ladies on, who are capable of doing the job, not people who just are going to turn a blind eye if somebody shouts and balls at them or decides to push them. You need somebody who's going to do the job properly. So Wembley probably didn't do the job properly last night, and that's why they ended up in that position. Look at Man United as well. I mean, a club like that, when they were protesting against the ESL, no security on at all, and Man United fans just managed to breach their way into the ground and run riot round Old Trafford. I've never known anything as crazy in all my life. I really haven't. So again, it's just that that really casts a doubt over whether England, especially the violence, would ever get awarded a major tournament again. We got banned from Europe for the same thing. I interviewed Pat Nevin. It's on the playlist the other day, and he said that essentially hooliganism, upset him, but it cost him some great European nights because English clubs just got banned from Europe.
Yeah, it's there is massive consequences. Like, if we don't get the chance to ever host a major tournament, that'd be a massive shame, just because a few idiots want to go and have a fight. But touching on the point about the stewards and the security staff, I totally agree. And I don't know Wembley that well as a ground. I haven't been very often, but I thought it was bizarre how they managed to get in. So I'm assuming they got in through the exit gates that normally open at full time to allow people out in big numbers. Because I was thinking, how could they get through without it? Because like at St. James, you scan your ticket, you get through the turnstile, and you can't get in unless you scan the ticket. Otherwise, it's locked. So clearly someone's opened the exit gates for whatever reason. Maybe there was someone with a wheelchair that was trying to get through, and people pushed through or whatever. But it was very bizarre, and I don't understand why those gates would have been opened in the first place. So I think there needs to be investigations into that, because not to mention we've had incidents in this country before, like Hillsborough, and there could have easily been like a crushing incident or a massive safety hazard, and we're just lucky that it hasn't happened.
Yeah, Mark Fleming's saying he's worked in the security industry for over 30 years and he agrees there are too many weak souls out there. I mean, I did 18 years, Mark, as you know, in the nightclub and bar industry, and it's not what it was, put it that way. And when you no offence to some of the people who stand on the doors up and down the country, but unfortunately, some of them aren't up to the job, and it's putting the public at risk. And that is our job, really, to protect the public when we're working in that situation. And there maybe needs to be a little bit of thought going in, especially with the amount of money that these people are making. And somebody asked as well, is that why the game was stopped? No, that's not why the game was stopped. It's because there was a streaker. Somebody apparently who'd been on a reality programme on BBC One as well. Anyway, we're going to get to a few of your questions and comments. John says, England's type of football in this Euros has not been exciting to watch. A chronic shortage of shots and chances. Mount has been poor. Kane, a lack of chances, spends more time out of the penalty area. What do you think of that, Holly? Because, I know it wasn't exciting, but, we went first team in tournament football to keep 5 clean sheets in the opening 5 games. We only conceded 2 goals from set pieces. That goal last night, of course, was scrambled in, but the first one was a set piece, so set piece in qualification. But, we didn't score many, so I guess John's right.
Yeah, he is. And it was a boring game to watch. But in my opinion, all of the England games have been pretty boring, with the exception of the 4-0 win. Because I think it might have been Steve Hasty that made this point, that we've never actually got out of third gear the whole tournament. And then he said that he didn't think we were actually capable of it. It might not have been Steve, but I remember it was said on the show. But I thought that was a great point, because I think, we have kind of... You've always got that idea that we can do more than this. We can put more oomph into the game. We can try harder. We never have. And people have said, yes, well, we haven't needed to. But in that final, we did need to, and we still didn't. So I think that is kind of a lack of ability to really get on the pace in the game, which is maybe something that we need to work on for the World Cup next year. But yeah, I do agree with John. The football, it's not the best. As long as it works though, and as long as we don't concede goals, then it's fine. But we do need to work on scoring more as well. And I think if Harry Kane had got into better form early on in the tournament, then maybe it wouldn't have been as much of an issue. Do you think the same about Harry Kane?
Yeah, I mean, look, Harry, I think we mentioned it on this show. He looked as if he had, something on his mind. Could have been his forthcoming, move. We knew he had his injury problems throughout the season as well. Perhaps that was a concern. But I thought he grew in confidence, obviously got those goals, and from his perspective, he'd just be disappointed. He also had the responsibility of being captain, which can weigh heavily on your mind when you're in tournament football, I guess. But he should be immensely proud. He should wake up this morning and be immensely proud of where he got his team to. And Graham Jones clearly played a role in with his late addition to the squad as well. And I didn't bother tweeting last night. I left it till this morning, and I meant every word I said. And to read the England tweet this morning as well was great. And I guess the disappointing thing for Gareth Southgate will be that he didn't get a chance to have a debrief. Normally, when Newcastle play, for example, the following day, they'll get the team in. This is where you went wrong. This is what we could have done better. But unfortunately, Gareth doesn't get that. They go back to the hotel. They'll have a night together, and everyone shoots off. That's it. No debrief today. No England work today. They all go for the holidays because their clubs are back in pre-season training, and we're getting ready for a new season. So it's it's the one thing he probably misses. But yeah, look, it's over for another year. We've only got one more year to wait, of course, now for the World Cup. So let's see what happens in Qatar. And possibly because we won't have played a full season, although we're going to be playing in ridiculous heat across in Qatar in December. We might see a buoy in England because the players aren't going to have played their full seasons and should all be right on form, ready for that. So maybe they will go to Qatar and bring the World Cup home instead, which would be absolutely fantastic. Before I come to any more questions, I just want to give a shout out, as always, to our sponsors. Spider VPN, Google them, and they come up at the top of your internet Google search, and they will help protect your computer and your passwords and anything else you've got on your computer. Google Spider VPN. Big shout out to the lads for their sponsorship as always. And skipsandbins.com, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website www.skipsandbins.com. Easy, contract free, and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Also, thanks to John at qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend in Newcastle. He is in the chat tonight. Give him a shout. And thanks to Jab Signature as well for doing all of our flyers. Big thank you to everybody who has been donating to the food bank, of course. The food bank, I think it took £2,300 over the weekend, the match day bucket. So a big thank you to everybody who got behind that. After our little plug on the Fab 4 show on Friday. But NUFC fans, foodbank.co.uk, still time to enter yourself into the raffle for the watch, which is a one-off provided by QTech, and that will be drawn at the pool night on Friday the 6th of August, which of course is raising funds for the food bank as well. If you're a first-time visitor to the channel, please subscribe. Over 100 new subscribers over the last 7 days, and you just need to click on the Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right-hand corner, and that's it. You can subscribe to the channel for free, and hit the like button, which is the little thumb up. That does us a favour, and click the share button as well, which shares it to your other social media. And drop into the comments. There's over 250 watching tonight live. To speak to other like-minded Newcastle fans. Don't forget, we have got a website courtesy of qtechshop.co.uk. They've set up a NUFC Matters website for us, and he runs the t-shirts and does everything else on there for us. A big thank you to John. That's our bestseller, the Cult t-shirt. We've been called worse than that, believe you me. But get your Cult t-shirt and join the Cult. And maybe if you bought one over the last couple of weeks, you can wear it on the buses for what we're going to talk about next. And that is Friday And I'll give it a little plug once again. Join Newcastle United fans for a peaceful demonstration at Parliament this coming Friday at 1 o'clock in Parliament Square. And coaches go from St James's Park. The tickets are on the website, nufcmatters.com. We leave at 5 o'clock on Friday morning. Holly, you've been a major player in this. You've been a big help with the Protest NUFC group, hence your Twitter tag tonight. How's it gone?
It's gone really well. We weren't sure which way it was going to go because we didn't have much time, because the club released their statement and then we knew that the arbitration was going to be happening at some point this month. So we didn't have a lot of time. We had to act very quickly. Thankfully, people received it really well. The page gained a lot of attention very quickly. We've had a lot of help from different people, different journalists, and the list goes on really, and the fans have took to it really well for the most part. So that's been absolutely brilliant. Before I say anything else on the protest, though, I will just quickly mention that the free tickets that Newcastle fans have kindly donated, if they can't go to the protest, they've bought a ticket for someone else to go. Get in contact with either the protest page or John from QTech on Twitter, and he will put your name into the draw for a free ticket because they'll be needed to be sorted out soon. So get on that as well because we have got quite a few donated tickets from very generous Newcastle fans. But yeah, it's going really well. We're hoping, obviously, to get as many people in London as possible. But not only that, it's not about just the numbers. It's about the message that we actually are spreading and how well we do that, because we want to stress that this protest is very much for transparency. It's to help us be aware of what's going on in our arbitration case and to get our takeover. We don't want any kind of outside noise, anti-Ashley things, any targeted abuse at the likes of Richard Masters, Gary Hoffman, nothing like that. We don't want any kind of, abusive comments or any remarks. We just want transparency. That is the point in the protest. So that's something that we definitely wanted to push out there. But it'll be brilliant for everyone to fight for a better future for the club. And that video that we got sent across from Mirdad Gadusi, Amanda Staveley's husband, was massive. And I think that the fact that they're supporting this and they're showing their appreciation for the fans doing something is huge. And if nothing else is achieved by it, at least the owners can see that the fans are very much fighting for this and they're very keen to have them as owners in St James's Park. And I can't wait for when that day will eventually come, which I believe it will, hopefully sometime soon.
What's the plans when you get to London, Holly?
So when we get to London, obviously in Parliament Square, we'll have a lot of flags which have been generously donated by War Flags, which will help spread our message. I know a lot of fans have also organised their own flags to be made that spread a similar message, asking for transparency. And of course, we'll be making our voices heard, getting the message out there that we're not going to go away. We want this transparency. And also, we're hoping to be meeting up with journalists, people from the media, people from the TV that'll help us get coverage for this story because we want it to be seen, as much online and things as possible as well, so that it doesn't just last a day, but this story keeps getting shared once the protest's done. And then obviously the Premier League will pick up on that and hopefully, that'll put some more pressure on them because that is something that's very important, to keep the pressure on the Premier League. We can't ease this. We can't back off. We need to just constantly keep going, constantly requesting transparency, getting in contact with your local MPs and all the relevant people and putting pressure onto them because if we just sit back and allow them to get away with it, then we won't get the answers that we want and deserve.
John Spence asks, how many do you think will be in London Friday? I believe we're up to 2 coachfuls going down now, and I think they're 52-seaters. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And of course, it's impossible to say exactly how many is going to be there because we'll have a lot of people joining us from Newcastle who'll be making their own way, but also fans that are from elsewhere in the country that'll be joining us. And we do have the London Magpie group that'll be meeting up with us as well. So, yeah, and of course, people that'll be getting the donated tickets, that'll bring more numbers down. So we're hoping, that it'll be a few hundred people. It could be more, it could be less. But like I said, the most important thing is that we really do get our message across.
Yeah, I mean it's great for you and others to take up the gauntlet, if you like, and do something about it. And as you say, Mirdad's message was great to see. Have you had support from anyone else?
Yeah, so we've had support from, of course, local media. The Shields Gazette have been brilliant. They've published our story as well as the Chronicle. radio stations that have been good. Of course, different Newcastle fan groups. I've mentioned the London Magpies. The Trust are now on board with us as well. We have had correspondence with them, which we're really happy about and grateful for. And, other Newcastle groups, there's been a lot of people that's been very supportive of this. And also, I have had messages of support from fans of other clubs as well that really think that we do deserve this to be played out in public, because they think that Newcastle fans deserve answers after how long it's been, which again is great to see and hear. And of course, the local, not local to us, but local in London, the non-league side, Hanwell Town's also been very supportive of this because they have a Newcastle connection. So a lot of people, a lot of fan groups have got on board, different YouTube channels, which I've been on across the past kind of week. So it's really great, and we encourage everyone to get on board to fight for a better future for Newcastle.
Has it surprised you that there's been a bit of opposition on social media, or because of the trolling that you've seen and witnessed probably since you joined the show? Has it surprised you to see people, still against this particular takeover and against fans doing something?
Sadly, no, it hasn't surprised us. Like I said, before I started doing YouTube and doing things on NUFC Matters, I was a bit blind to it, to be honest, because I didn't spend a lot of time online and I just didn't really see any of it happening. Then obviously when I joined this show and started doing YouTube and things like that, then I became a lot more aware of it, and it's kind of been off and on for a long time, usually the same suspects, I must say, and they are the same people that have constantly trolled various people from certain YouTube channels or groups that have, sent abuse about this protest, it's disappointing. But are we bothered? Not really, because for us, we know that we're doing something to fight for a better future for our football club, which we love. For me, as a young fan who's been subject to Ashley for the whole time I've been supporting the club, I want to fight for something better so I can see some glory days at Newcastle, so I can see something better. So I don't go into a season constantly expecting to be relegated, because that's how it is most years. So we're doing something. I've said to these people before, last week I said on your show, Steve, I said, if they've got ideas and they think of something better, then let us know. We're happy to take ideas on board, but they never do. So as far as I'm concerned, they can just do what they like. But I don't think they represent Newcastle fans, and I think the genuine Newcastle fans have been outstanding. Like I've said, obviously donating bus tickets and stuff for those who can't afford it.
Yeah, I think, and I said this on one of my videos on Twitter. Essentially, I think, fair play to the protest group for just listening to supporters, because there was an idea mooted about flying a plane over the stadium at Wembley yesterday, and there was criticism of it, and the protest group said, right, okay, we're not going to bother doing that now, and that's really what it's all about, listening to supporters. And it's, again, we're looking for transparency from the Premier League here, but usually we're asking the football club to communicate with us. So it was nice to see a fans group communicating with fans.
Definitely, because all of the people behind the group are just day-to-day Newcastle fans that go home and away, follow the club, love the club. That's it, and we want a better future for it, like I've said. So basically, we want to take on board the ideas of all Newcastle fans. We're a group for the fans, run by the fans, and anyone's welcome to get involved. We're not we don't have our own agenda. We're not trying to get any kind of fame or anything out of this. It's not about that. So of course we're going to take people's ideas on board, because we are trying to represent and take on board all Newcastle fans' opinions. It's not really an individual thing. It's a group thing, and that's what we've tried to do,
Is there going to be any speakers on the day? Are people going to be speaking, or is it just literally going to be the protest? And obviously, I know Chi Onwura is going to be meeting up. Chi, of course, who had a Zoom call with Amanda and Mirdad a couple of days ago as well, which went very well by all accounts. So, is there going to be anybody making any speeches or statements down there?
So that's something that we're planning to have a chat about in the group in the next couple of days leading up to the protest. Mostly it's going to be a general voice, I'd imagine, just all of the fans together fighting for the same thing, echoing the same message. If we feel like it would be beneficial to have a couple of people that help kind of lead in that, then we will organise that. We're going to have chats about that, and then that'll probably get posted onto the Twitter page. And of course, we have arranged meetings for some people to get journalists on board, and there will be individuals from the group that'll be speaking to them, because of course we can't have hundreds of people talking to a journalist, because that wouldn't really work. So yeah, but it's mostly going to be a group thing, like I said, but we might and we will keep you updated on that.
Okay, good stuff. People can still get on the bus. So nufcmatters.com is the website. I think John will be shutting that off over the next couple of days, though, because he can't keep that open forever. So get in touch with John in the chat if you fancy going. As I say, it sounds like 2 buses are almost full, and obviously the people in London who will be travelling there as well. Sounds like there'll be a couple of hundred there, which is certainly enough to get the point across. MD says, I see Ben Jacobs has slightly changed his tune. I stumbled upon something today where he was speaking and he said he wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle won arbitration. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of, as Steve Hasty calls it, rearranging of deck chairs in the social media world of NUFC takeover. Yano says, sponsorship idea. Sponsor pays NUFC, say 3 million, and donates 3 million direct to the food bank. NUFC also pay the income to the food bank, e.g. Saudi Aramco supporting the NUFC food bank. Okay, good idea. Doug Hall says, if these were extremists, God knows what could have happened. Just talking about what we were saying about the people invading Wembley yesterday. You were 100% correct there. John says, Steve, can you legally put a list up with who is against the takeover, mate? Because I don't know a single person who doesn't want it. Plenty that don't think it'll happen. Not really, mate, because it's just playing into the hands of those who are, on the very far left and very critical of me. So, check me Twitter out. Search Steve Wraith on Twitter every morning, and you'll see the certain people who are just constantly rabbiting on about me on the timeline. I don't see them because I've just blocked them. But unfortunately, people screenshot and go, have you seen this? Have you seen that? Yeah, I see it. I do see it, but it doesn't bother me. I've got a different opinion to them. But these people don't want the takeover. They're on the extreme far left of politics. They want a takeover, yes. They don't want the Saudi takeover because they've got a mindset that Saudi is not the right country to be associated with us. And as I said time and time again, I can appreciate that people have a different point of view to me, but that doesn't mean you should attack, troll, and slander and defame me because I have a different opinion to you. And only last week we had another new account, Josh, who was troll of the week on Friday. Who just decides to list everything that he doesn't like about me. Now it's either personal or it's about me and the takeover. Who knows? I don't really care. I don't know the kid. I'm not. I haven't any reason to be upset either because the stuff that he puts up, I've got an answer to every single one of those things. So it's just sad, John. That we've got to talk like this. But I have always been the same. I'm 49 years of age, mate, now. I'm not going to change. If I've got an opinion about something and I feel like I've got to say it, I'll say it. And if I want to change my mind about something, I'll change my mind about something. And if I want to change my mind about an organisation that I've been involved with, like I have done in the past, then I will do. Because things change. Life doesn't stand still. Neither does Newcastle United. And, for me, it's just one of those things. But yeah, Google my, do the search for Steve Wraith on Twitter. You'll find out who I'm talking about. I don't need to create a list. Good luck to the protest group and everyone on Friday. Sorry I can't join you, says Mr. Taylor. And Life Goes says that 1% of the club for 3 million seems to have gone eerily quiet now. Oh, yeah, you're talking about the Trust's pledge scheme. Fully expecting the food bank to receive 200,000 or so when it's done and not achieved its main purpose, which will help a lot of people out. Yeah, look, we've talked about that on many occasions on the show. As I've said, me, Steve Hasty, Neil Mitchell and Keith Patterson have done a special series of programmes which go out week commencing the 23rd of August called Newcastle Disunited. You will get our full story on various things which have happened with fans' protests, etc., and the ones that we were involved in. But yeah, you're right, and it will be a great donation to charity, which is what I have said all along. Okay, Holly, you are modelling, which I didn't realise you were going to be modelling. People are calling the 4 strip because it's got a big number 4 at the top. But I guess the big question is it comfy? Is it a nice strip? Is it better than the previous strip? Give us your own personal review.
Yeah, I really like the strip, hence why I bought it. And I'm going to blame, I don't know if he's watching, he watches a lot of the shows. I'm going to blame Paul Oxley for it because I wasn't going to get the strip. I usually don't till they come on half price, or I just don't bother at all. But he said that they were a lot nicer in person. And so I went to have a look at the club shop today and ended up getting it because I did agree with Paul. And it is a really nice strip, actually. And the number 4 thing, right? I couldn't see it for ages and ages. And someone had pointed it out to us, and I was like, look, and studying it. And I was like, I can't see it. Eventually, I saw it, and then I was like, everyone's going off it about this 4. I don't really think it's a big issue personally, but I know my dad's drive like insane by it as well, because he's going, I can't get that strip. It looks like a number 4, but
That's my lucky number.
Is it?
It's a number I used to play on. And when I used to play centre half on a Sunday, I used to wear the number 4.
Maybe you should get it, then it might bring you some luck.
Well, I'm going to take your judgment on it. It looks okay, but I haven't seen it in the flesh. But you're saying it's a nice strip.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice. The only, the criticism of it is maybe they should have done it the opposite way around, so the white stripe was there, and then it wouldn't have created the number 4 issue.
Yeah.
But it definitely resembles the 95-96 strip with the Grandad colour, and I really like it personally, so I would recommend it. £65, it is a bit ridiculous, to be honest, but I wanted it, so I ended up getting it.
I guess the big question is then, have you bought this?
No, I haven't personally, but I was with my dad today at the club shop and he bought that.
Your dad bought it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I wasn't expecting him to go for that one, but he has a big issue with the number 4 on this one, and he says he likes the colour purple, so he got it. He obviously likes it. It's not my cup of tea personally. I think it looks like a lollipop from a circus or something. But each to their own.
You know what? That's going to be a grower though, because I didn't like the yellow top when we got promoted back in the days of Kevin Nolan and Joey Barton and Alan Smith, etc. And that grew on me, and I eventually liked that top. I actually ended up getting that top, and I didn't like it when it first came out. But that could be a grower, that purple one. It could be. I like the black Fun 88. I like the way the stripes go across. That might grow on me. That one. I don't know. We'll see. It could be. It's a good holiday top. It's kind you'd wear around the pool when you're on a night.
Yeah.
When you're on a night out.
Stuff was nice, to be fair, but again, it's quite pricey. I think it was like £45 for training stuff. So yeah, it might be a grower though, and then my dad can sell it on for a lot of money. So maybe it was a good investment from him.
Yeah. Somebody asking what the goalkeeper top looks like. I haven't seen it. Is the honest answer? That is the goalkeeper top.
Yeah, for the home one. Yeah.
Ah, right. So that's not the home. That's not the away top.
No.
What's the away top then?
It hasn't been announced yet.
Ah, right. Okay. Good job. You're on the ball. So that's the goalkeeping top. So there you go. Yeah. That's an exclusive on the goalkeeping top. But we don't have a second strip yet. So I do like the training top as well. So fantastic. Good review, Holly. Julie Baker, any update on the Christmas do? Lee isn't back in the UK. If you follow him on Instagram, which is where he is, he's still in Dubai. He's trying to get a job out there. He wants a job, another job in football. So until he confirms what is going on with his job, I can't guarantee the date of the Christmas do. All we know is it'll definitely go ahead at some point when Lee's back in the country. But Lee's also supposed to be doing the September gig for us at the Time Theatre. And until we know, whether he's back or not, we can't confirm anything. So don't worry, it's still there. It's still on the list. If he gets a job which is going to keep him away, then we'll obviously have to get somebody else in to do the Christmas do. But don't worry, we will all get together, and hopefully Lee will have an answer very soon. Stephen Holly, do you think these peaceful protests will apply enough pressure on the Premier League to make this public, says Bede? Holly, do you think it will?
Do I think the protest will directly lead to the arbitration becoming public? No, I think that's pretty unrealistic if I was to say that, to be honest. I do think, however, a combination of fan pressure, pressure from the club, pressure from the buyers will most likely lead to it being public. And most importantly, it's that there is pressure on from all angles constantly, because I've mentioned this before, everyone has a breaking point where they're eventually going to have to give some type of answer, because even something rather than a no comment would be beneficial, because we need to have some idea of what's going on. So I think it might force them to make some type of statement. It'll show that we're not going away. And like I mentioned before, the fans have been very, very put out for the past 15 to 18 months. And I think we need to now show that fans do actually have a voice, and football's for the fans. So we need to step up and do something now. And of course, like I said, it shows that the fans really care about the football club and want a better future for it. And, that's just as important as kind of getting the Premier League to make an answer. But I don't think they'll answer to anyone that they don't want to. They've been very, very stubborn.
Yeah, Tom Lynch, you do get a mention on the NUSC and NUST show, mate, so you will enjoy that. It's very open, honest, and frank. John says, I have to mention Holly. She's been a breath of fresh air since joining. She knows her stuff and comes across great.
Thanks, John.
I think Roger Cook was expecting you to do some kind of catwalk with the strip, Holly, but I'm not going to ask you to do that. I'm sure you'll be able to go and see one in the club shop, Roger.
I'll post a photo on Twitter.
There you go. She'll post the photo on Twitter for you. Is the club shop open yet, says Thomas?
Yeah, it is open now, as well as the 9 bar, because I was concerned about that as well. I thought it was going to be permanently shut, but both of them have opened back up.
Yeah, there you go. Billy Trey says, should be called the 4 kit. Given that's what we will be shouting most of the time watching Bruce Ball. John Brown says, the number 4 is to remind us how long Sunderland have been out of the Premiership. John B says, I've looked for ages and I just can't find the number 4. It's at the top, mate. There it is.
There.
There's the 4. There's the 4. You can see it.
It's hard to... The screen's reversed, so that's throwing me well.
Yeah, we could see it. That was perfect. Yeah, but people campaigning now. Life goals, stand up, Holly. Let's see how it looks. Billy says, hi, Keith. A bit morose today, but not as bad as I felt 90 or 96, mate. Oh, Billy's on the chat. That's what everyone's suffering a little bit from hangovers, I think. Billy Forkett. Oh, God, it's all going on now. Number 4 is the amount of pounds Ashley will spend on the transfers this summer.
That's a bit generous, to be honest.
God almighty, I hope not. No, that's the position we're going to finish in the league, man. Let's have a bit of faith. Yeah. It's 1995, 96 all over, says Dunnell. Remember, that it's only the first shirt they've done, so they'll take on the feedback. It's a good point, Julie. It is, isn't it? It's a learning curve for them.
Yeah, it is, and I think for a first home strip, they've done pretty well. They just should have reversed the order of the stripes, and it would have been perfect. And I'm not a fan of the 4 stripes either. I'd rather it have been 8, but I do think it's a very close resemblance of the 95-96, which is one of my favourite shirts.
Chris has obviously been experimenting at home. We're looking forward to seeing you on Friday, Chris, at the Parliament Square meeting. If you unbutton the top button or 2, the 4 goes away, like. Why have you now inherited a Geordie accent at the end as well, Chris? Putting like at the end of your sentences, Chris. It's a grower, not a shower, says Life Goals. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. It must be the shirt. What's the goalkeeper top look like if that's the away? That isn't the away, that's the goalkeeper top. So that's my fault. That is the goalkeeper top, as stand corrected by Holly. So that is the goalkeeper top. That is the home top. The away top hasn't been announced yet. So there we go. Yano says, Newcastle have at least 1 million fans. So unless there's over 10,000, 1% fans out there that don't want it, then 99% fans do want it. Is that the top or the takeover or the pledge? I'm lost off. Has Lee had a pint with Mitch out in Dubai? I don't think so. I'm not sure. I don't even know of whether they've communicated at all. So it's a good point. I'll have to ask Mitch. Jimmy Riz, good evening, mate. I keep saying I'll come on your show, mate. Just give us an invite and I'll come. You're always welcome on mine. Good channel. Check out the Jimmy Rizzo show. Always interesting podcasts. Chris says we should focus more on keeping the cat open. Premier League uses arbitration because it's private. Pick our battles, says Chris, just with regards to the ongoing legal action. Dunnell says football is nothing without the fans. And Jimmy says the club belongs to the people, the fans, not a fat cat. Yes, you're right there. Is the NUFC protest group just on Twitter or are they on Facebook as well, Holly?
I do believe that someone set up a Facebook page last night, so I think there should be one on there now. We have also created it as an event, like on Facebook with the details on, so you will be able to find it on there. And just type in NUFC Transparency Protest and it'll come up.
Daryl Peel says, do I have to wear face masks on the bus to London? Well, as always, on public transport, trains, etc., you do need to have your mask with you. Obviously, if you're eating or drinking, then you're allowed to have your mask down. But I guess it's just down to common sense. I've been on 1 or 2 bus trips myself over the last few weeks, and a public bus is a bit different. But I think a personal bus, I think it's down to personal choice. That's what I would say. But I would imagine, yes, bring a face mask, mate, because the restrictions aren't over till the 19th of July, and we're all supposed to be doing exactly as we are told still. Life Goals says, recent rumours that Bentaleb and Lazaro could join Newcastle this summer. Would you take either, Holly?
No. That's an easy answer for me. Bentaleb, do I really need to say why I wouldn't take Bentaleb? I think that's
No.
just a given. He's horrendous. Lazaro, I think there was some potential there, but like I just think he's another player that'll just probably sit on the bench and waste wages and just like be pointless. So no, I wouldn't, to be honest. I don't want to bring old players back to the club. I want to get some new people in, fresh legs, with the exception of Joe Willock, of course. I'd love to see him come back, but no, I don't want to see Bentaleb or Lazaro.
No, Dunson versus Gateshead pre-season friendly tomorrow night down at UTS, so always well worth popping down if anybody gets a chance to go to the game. Give them a shout. And John says QTech are providing a goodie bag to each traveller on the bus, which includes 2 face masks. So there you go, John from QTech, who has not only helped the protest group pull the coaches together, take the orders for tickets, has also supplied goodie bags for each person travelling. So well done to John at QTech. He certainly stepped up, hasn't he, Holly, and supported the cause fantastically well.
100%, he's been great, and of course we're really, really grateful as a group for his support that he's gave us, because we wouldn't have been able to get here without his input. Yeah,
absolutely fantastic. And we're now into pre-season training, and just good to see the players back in, wasn't it, Holly? I mean, the Euros are now be a thing of the past. We can move on. I mean, I know we've got the Tokyo Olympics around the corner, which seems to be in complete turmoil with what's going on across in their country. But well, now starting to look ahead. First friendly, of course, with no away allocation. York on the 18th. Harrogate Town on the 18th as well. Obviously 2 different teams travelling. Doncaster Rovers then on the 23rd. We are still waiting for ticket details on that. I am hoping to go to that one, hopefully anyway. And then Rotherham United on the 27th, Burton Albion on the 30th, and Norwich City on Saturday the 7th. That's our pre-season. But good to see the players back in again, wasn't it? And just that buzz of anticipation ready for the new season ahead.
It is, Stephen. I did enjoy watching the Euros, of course, but you know me, I'm very much club over country all day, every day, and I do like the pre-season. I think it's a chance to kind of play different teams you wouldn't normally play and go to different grounds as well. And the 4 games that fans are allowed to at the minute, I'm going to be at all 4, to be honest, because I really like it. And it's games that you wouldn't normally get a chance to go to. So looking forward to them. And it's a shame about York and Harrogate that we can't go, unfortunately, but there's plenty more games. Great to see all the players back in training. Look very happy, to be honest. I'm not sure I'd be happy knowing I was coming back to playing Bruce ball for another year. But there you go. I've always got this thing at the start of the season, though. I know the reality. I know we're fighting for 17th, but I'm always like, oh, we're going to go in, we're going to smash it, we're going to win all the games. It never happens, and I get disappointed on the first game of the season. But I'll go in with that mindset regardless. I don't know if that's all Newcastle fans. Do you go in with the same mentality?
I do. I mean, as always, when you walk into St James's Park for that first game, and of course now I'm missing the first game because they moved it to the Sunday. I booked a trip to go to Abbey Road in London, where the Beatles and many famous faces have recorded, and so I go on the Sunday. So I actually missed the first game. I'll be there for the friendlies, and I'll be there for the Norwich game, but I'm going to miss that first home game. But yeah, when you walk into St James's Park, you smell the freshly cut grass. You see the new strips on display from on the players and on the fans around the ground, and you just breathe in a new season, and everyone starts on a level playing field, and you hope that your new signings are going to get off to a great start, and you just hope that you can you hope you can win something that season. That's really what you should be thinking when you go into the ground. Unfortunately for us, you walk in under this owner and you just go, Christ, I hope we stay up. I hope we see some decent games. I hope we number 9 can bag a few goals. It's literally that, isn't it? It's just essentially, just hoping for the best, as in rather than having any hope at all. That's where you are with Newcastle. But I do enjoy the friendlies. I do like going away to some of these places where you're normally never going to get a chance to go to. I really do feel it's a bit strange playing Norwich, but I've noticed that they're not just playing us, but I think they're playing Liverpool as well. I just find that bizarre that they're coming into the Premier League and playing us.
I do find it bizarre, but I suppose it'll give us an idea of how we're going to go into the new season, because Norwich will be kind of in and around us, I'd imagine, in the league. And we will be restricted this year, because I know a couple of years ago we went to China and stuff like that. now with the COVID restrictions and a lot of countries aren't allowing travel, will be restricted. So maybe that's why. I guess it could, like I said, it could be good practice to see how we're going to fare in the new season. But you would think we'd be playing more lower league and kind of, smaller clubs, because it is a bit bizarre.
Sunderland.
Yeah, that would be an amazing
Middlesbrough.
Both of them, it would be brilliant. I'd love that, honestly.
We'd need better security than Wembley if that was going to happen, I'm afraid. Billy says, expect to see a photo on the famous zebra crossing, Steve. You will do, mate. That's I'm going down with my dad and one of my best mates as well, Dave. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a good little trip away. Looking forward to it. And hopefully Newcastle still get the win while I'm away. Lots of positive comments coming in for you, Holly. People congratulating you on a great job. And for John at QTech. Rachel found the event on Facebook. She says, John, Steve, we got 17 points from our first 10 games last season, so best start in a long time. Yeah, John, listen, I'm not going to be too negative at all. I'm very rarely negative at the start of the season. If you remember last season, I gave Joe Linton 10 games to prove himself, and my criticism of him had eased off from the season before that. So you always find me being quite a fair Newcastle fan stroke pundit, mate. Newcastle have finished top 4, 60-1. The 4 is an omen, says Sean Parker. I think Joe Walker, we're looking for things to predict. Maybe let's get some early season bets in, because it's a good time to put your bets on before the transfers come in. You get some decent prices. So Joe Walker, that's your task for the Fab 4 show, which of course we're going to have to pre-record. So Joe's going to have to send in a video. John Ball says, any truth in the rumours Graham Jones isn't coming back to NUFC and is staying full-time at English coach? No, that was Percy Kohler on Twitter, who's got a horrendous habit of putting out professional-looking tweets. And when people are half-cut after an England game, go on. So it set Twitter alight this morning. Fair play to him. It's, he got a few bites. He almost got me, but now I check everything before I retweet anything. Did it get you, Holly?
No, I always read the Twitter handle.
You've got to. Life Goes says, Fraser's on 60 grand a week. I'm not sure Celtic would pay that, but I've rarely seen a player look so obviously disgusted to be with a club. He wouldn't make a good poker player. Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I can imagine if we do end up letting somebody go, Fraser might be one of them. I'd
be happy with that.
Richard Naylor says, I can't speak too highly of QTech to help me to sponsor a seat. Communication was spot on. Once again, John, lots of positivity coming in for you tonight. And as always, that hour has flown over too quickly. But Holly, absolute pleasure, as always, chatting Newcastle United and England tonight with you. It wasn't coming home. We'll have to wait till next year for that. But Holly, have a good week, and I will see you on Friday.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the